4th and goal to go to 2. 34 seconds left to go in the ball game. This is the play right now. Takes the snap. Targeted goes in. Targeted all alone. And the quarterback keeps. Wow, what a call. Nobody touched him.
Here is Jeff, the host of the Gridiron.
Well, let's hope. The Giants have a plan for Mr. Mbow, right? Now, you draft these guys, and the Giants have just have not had good success drafting guys, and maybe if they're not really good right off the bat, developing them. You know, we've had, you can go through, right, however many guys you want, right? The guys, if they come in, if they're good, okay, cool. But if they're not, it just, you can go, the guy, Hart, the year we picked Flowers, 2015. First round, we picked Flowers. The 7th round, we picked Hart. We had Hart for a couple of years, and Gettleman got rid of him. He was causing some problems, I think, toward the end of the year or something like that. He was causing some problems, and Gettleman got rid of him. And if Hart, all he did was latch on with the Bengals. I can't remember if it was just the Bengals, if he went to another team or not, but he played, right? I mean, you can go to one team after the, not one team, one player after the other almost with our offensive linemen. And if they leave, like Parrott, he latched on with the Broncos. He's a 3rd round pick. Guy's 6'30". I mean, he was enormous from Connecticut, but I mean, couldn't make the lineup. It was like, we let him go, right? He latches on with the Broncos. He did a well enough job, right, that they signed him to a 2-year extension. You go almost one guy after the other. Guy Jake Burton, I think he was with the Giants in 2021, I think it was. I don't even think he made the team. Well, after being out of football for 2 or 3 years, he made the Lions lineup. I think he was just on their practice squad. He might have made one game or something like that, but for the most part, I think he was on a practice squad. But we let him go. He was out of football for a couple of years, and he latches on with the Lions. So, So let's hope that we can, if he's not an immediate impact player, right, we're able to develop this guy. We've drafted a lot of offensive linemen, and one of the big problems we've had is not being able to develop these guys. With Ezeudu, right? You draft a guy that low, and you have visions of this guy either being a starter or good. I mean, actually, really, you draft a guard like in the 3rd round. Oh yeah, you don't. Oh, we'll draft him in the 3rd round. He'll probably be good on the practice squad. No, the guy should be a starter for you, right? If nothing else, he should be a real nice contributor. But so let's hope that we can find something for Mr. Mbow, right, and develop this guy. Giants is from heavy.com, heavy on NFL. Giants have a complex plan for rookie Marcus Mbow. Using the 5th round pick to select Purdue offensive lineman Marcus Mbow was the least hyped move the Giants made in the 2025 NFL draft, but it could turn out to be the most significant thanks to a complex plan involving the rookie and at least 2 veteran blockers. The plan was described by John Fennelly of Giants Wire. He referenced Mbow as part of an argument for why 35-year-old Greg Van Roten could lose his job at left guard. Fennelly explained the hope is that Marcus Mbow can win a job this summer, either at guard or tackle. Now, we're probably pretty much talking right guard or right tackle. Because he's not bumping out Andrew Thomas, and John Runyon Jr. is probably pretty much cemented himself. As long as he comes back from his shoulder and everything's fine, he's probably pretty much cemented himself as our left guard. If the latter happens, Jermaine Eluemunor would shift to guard. Okay, all right, okay. Either way, depth is needed all along the line. Absolutely. Shifting Eluemunor to guard would be bad news for Van Roten, who was the only player to play every offensive snap last season. But the Giants wouldn't be upset if he gets beaten out for the job. Van Roten is already under threat from high-profile draft bust Evan Neal, making the switch to guard. Neal enjoying a successful transition can help the Giants salvage something from the investment they made in the 7th overall pick in 2022. Now, they got Bo can be a tackle, and we got Neal at guard, and maybe we get Michael Schmitz. Hopefully, he can keep inching his way, get a little bit better. But Bo's ascension would have a greater knock-on effect across the line. Giants need Marcus Mbow to meet expectations. Bo was touted as a steal as soon as he became the 154th pick. He can justify the hype by translating natural aggression as a mauler to the pro level. The player's nasty streak showed up on these blocks, highlighted by wide left's James Foster. Now, there's a video here, 3 minutes and 32 seconds worth. So 3.5 minutes of video, but showing him in college, though. All right. Bo instantly playing like this in the NFL is a lofty expectation. With the 22-year-old meeting, it can help the Giants solve a problem not being talked about enough this offseason. Lost amid all the talk about new quarterbacks Russell Wilson and Jackson Dart, as well as the excitement about a loaded defensive front, has been a frank assessment of what the Giants have along the O-line. But let's not forget also, right? I mean, you talk bad about the O-line, all that stuff. I get it. Right? No need to explain it to me. It's also, it's like, what have you done for me lately, League? But let's not forget, right? The Giants, the first 5-6 weeks last year, right? They did not have the best offensive line in football. I'm not saying that. But they're like mid, right? If you look at the tape, I mean, they had some issue, but you also go to PFF, right? They were grading out 16, 17, 18, somewhere around, or around there. Okay? And they were just starting to, play together, right? The longer you play together, the better you get, right? You know the strengths and weaknesses of each other and all that stuff. So it helps to play. The more you play together, the better, right? So they were a decent unit. They were not as horrible as everybody's making out there. Then, of course, Andrew Thomas gets injured, and then the wheels fall off the bus, and the bus comes to a crashes into a tree, catches on fire, right? So that's why the last 11 weeks of the season was, because every week was a different starting rotation on the offensive line. We had 10 different starting offensive line combinations. It's tough to go very far when every week you got different combination. So the Giants' offensive line, the first 5 or 6 weeks last year, were not all right. We were 2-3 at one point, right? Then all of a sudden, all the offensive line combinations start sneaking in here and there, and we go from 2-3 to 3-14. It just happened to coincide the time that right at the time the Giants started, their offensive line just started going kaput. Right, that's when we lost, 11 of the last 12 games, right? The position group has been a weakness for a long time, and doubts persist even after some improvements last season. Big Blue surrendered 48 sacks. Well, I mean, they got a lot better. 1 year after allowing a league-high 85. So they went from 85 down to 48. Darn near almost half. Still, obviously, 48 still obviously a little on the high, but once again, they had a lot of backups in there. Guys moving from one position to the other. Right? What improvement there was owed a lot to Van Roten and Eluemunor. Absolutely. The latter became something of a linchpin after replacing Neal at right tackle, but his versatility can make the Giants stronger at a vital point. Jermaine Eluemunor moved to guard can transform the O-line. Having Eluemunor transfer his 6'4", 338-pound frame to the inside could secure a key area of the lineup. namely the position left tackle Andrew Thomas, the brilliant but brittle lineman who's the best blocker on the roster. Thomas has had to carry the load by himself for far too long, but putting an imposing guard next to him would change things for the better. Eluemunor fits the bill, but Neal could still surprise his critics. Well, we'll have to wait and see. But they're also talking about, they're talking about putting Eluemunor. I mean, I don't know if it's going to happen to John Runyon Jr. In this article there, I don't know. Head coach Brian Dable admitted Neal has done a nice job. He's picked up things well inside since moving from right tackle. Dable's always going to say that. Yeah, he's going to say, well, how's Neal been? He sucks. He's not picking anything up. He keeps tripping over his feet all the time. I think we're probably going to cut. I mean, he ain't going to say that. No coaches, for the most part, is ever going to say that. Yeah, right. You always say that the things you're supposed to say. So, but there's training camp coming on, right? We'll start to find out, right? Because you got a few weeks, and we have the first exhibition game. Oh, man. Woo. Love it. This is one time of the season I get excited about the beginning of football. Love it. Because I got the Giants and I got Notre Dame. So usually Notre Dame's pretty good. So at least if the Giants falter, I can always, not that Notre Dame's going to win a national championship or nothing, but at least I can watch some winning football. Right? Maybe Neal makes the grade, but his career has so far been defined by struggles with technique, erratic athleticism, and injury. Giants didn't get the return they hoped from a top 10 pick. But Mbow can prove a true sleeper if things go to plan during training camp. So we will have to. That's one of those things we're certainly going to have to wait on. Training camp. We're going to talk about this in a little bit here, right? But if the Giants can get something out of Mbow, I mean, you don't know. Right? We don't know if he can be a tackle, but he might be able to be a guard. But if he's going to move into guard or try him at guard, what if Neal, right? What if Neal does good, right? We got Runyon Jr. over there for, I think we signed him for 4 years. So we got him for another 3 years. So Mbow is going to move into guard. If there's no room for him to move to, what happens to him?